Today we're going to discuss the presence of the Lord and how to follow the voice of the Holy Spirit in worship. We're going to look at several accounts in the Bible where people worshiped and the Lord came. And as we do this, I want you to remember one statement. The stamp of God's approval on your worship is His presence. The stamp of God's approval on your worship is His presence. So our first account that we're going to look at today is in Exodus, when the tabernacle was completed. The Israelites had built the tabernacle exactly as God had commanded Moses, and when it was completed, Exodus 40, verse 34 tells us, "Then the cloud covered the tabernacle, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle." So God was pleased with their obedience, and He came. Second, we're going to look at Elijah, who brought a sacrifice to the Lord on Mount Carmel. 1 Kings 18, verse 38 says that when Elijah brought the sacrifice to the Lord, immediately the fire of the Lord flashed down from heaven and burned up the offering. So again, God was pleased with Elijah's worship, and He came. Remember, the stamp of God's approval on your worship is His presence. And third, when Solomon dedicated the temple, 2 Chronicles 7, 1 through 3 tells us, "When Solomon finished praying, fire flashed down from heaven and burned up the burnt offering and sacrifices, and the glorious presence of the Lord filled the temple. The priests could not enter the temple of the Lord because the glorious presence of the Lord filled it. When all the people of Israel saw the fire coming down and the glorious presence of the Lord filling the temple, they fell face down on the ground and worshipped and praised the Lord, saying, 'He is good. His faithful love endures forever.'" So again, we see that God was pleased with their worship, and He came. And when the Lord comes, anything is possible. We see this in the New Testament in the book of Acts. Acts 13:2 tells us that as the church was worshiping, the Holy Spirit came and commissioned Paul and Barnabas to preach the gospel. Just a few chapters later in Acts 16, 25 and 26, Paul and Silas were in prison, but as they worshiped, they were set free. So you see, as you worship, Jesus will come. And when He comes, anything is possible. So as worshipers and as worship musicians, our job is to worship until He comes. And then when He comes, do whatever He says to do. And this takes practice. You can't practice this in front of people. You can't practice this on a Sunday morning in front of 200 people. You have to practice this alone in the secret place with just you and the Lord. And just start worshiping Him. You don't even have to be at a piano. Just turn your affection to Him. And when He comes, say, "Lord, what do you want me to do? Do you want a song right now? What do you want?" So practically, let's apply it to the piano. So let's say we come to the piano, and what does it look like to worship until He comes? And when He comes, do what He says. Well, first, it looks like this. Start worshiping. And you might not feel anything. You probably won't feel anything right away. And that's okay, because worship is not about you. Worship is about Jesus. So as you start worshiping, you're giving Him your love and your affection, and you don't feel anything, but that's okay because it's not about you, it's about Jesus. And eventually there will come a moment where something will change and your spirit will recognize He's in the room. You might feel Him, you might get a tingling feeling in your hands, or your spirit might just know He's here. And you might not be able to explain it. You'll just know He's here. And when He's here, open your heart to Him. Open your ears to hear what He has to say, and open your heart to do whatever He says. And then you'll notice that He'll start to speak to you, and He'll start to say things. He might say, "Sing that chorus again. Go back to the verse. Play an instrumental here. Change the key. Go to this song." And when He says those things, obey right away. Don't wait. Obey right away, because that's what He wants to hear. And suddenly, what started as worship has now become a dance between you and Jesus. He leads and you follow. And when He's leading, you can go anywhere. You see, worship invites Him. That's why in Jeremiah, God says, "I will give them one heart and one purpose, to worship Me forever." Because as you worship, He will come. And when He comes, anything is possible. There is no limit to what he can do.